The explosion threw me off my feet before I even heard the sound. I hit the dirt hard, my ears ringing, smoke curling up from the crater where the transport ship used to be. My name is Daniel Cole, and 30 seconds earlier, I had been walking a routine patrol line on the edge of Colony Outpost Varick, checking sensor posts before the night shift took over. Now the sky above me was burning, and pieces of a spacecraft I did not recognize were raining down through the trees like falling stars. I grabbed my rifle and moved low, keeping to the shadows. My training kicked in before my fear did. Whatever had crashed was not one of ours. The hull plating scattered across the clearing had markings I had never seen. Sharp geometric patterns glowing faintly blue even in the dark. That was when I heard it. A sound between a gasp and a cry, coming from behind a shattered piece of the ship's wing. I should have called it in. I should have waited for backup. Instead, I moved toward the sound, rifle raised, heart hammering against my ribs. What I found was not a threat. It was a woman, or something close enough to one, pinned halfway under a piece of debris, her skin pale silver under the moonlight, her long dark hair matted with blood. Her eyes, a shade of violet I had never seen on a human face, locked onto mine with pure terror. She said something in a language I did not understand, her voice trembling, and she tried to pull herself free, wincing in pain. I lowered my rifle slowly, and raised my empty hand instead. "I am not going to hurt you," I said, keeping my voice calm even though my pulse was racing. "Just stay still." She did not understand the words, but something in my tone must have reached her, because she stopped struggling and watched me with wary eyes as I approached. The debris pinning her leg was heavy, twisted metal still warm from the crash. I set my rifle down within reach and got my hands under the edge of it, straining every muscle in my back and shoulders to lift it just enough for her to slide free. She cried out in pain as her leg came loose, and I saw the wound then, a deep gash running from her knee to her ankle, blood soaking through the strange metallic fabric of her clothing. "Okay," I muttered to myself, tearing a strip from my jacket sleeve to tie around the wound. "Okay, we are going to get you out of here." She flinched when I touched her leg, but she did not pull away. Maybe she understood I was trying to help. Maybe she simply had no strength left to resist. In the distance, I heard voices shouting in a language that was not hers, harsh and clipped, moving through the trees with the kind of coordinated precision that told me they were hunting for something, or someone. I made my decision in less than a second. I scooped her up into my arms, her body far lighter than I expected, and I ran. The forest around Outpost Varick was thick and unforgiving at night, roots reaching up to catch careless feet, branches whipping at exposed skin. I ignored all of it, focused only on putting distance between us and whoever was searching the crash site. She clung to my jacket with a weak grip, her breathing shallow against my chest, and every few minutes she would whisper something in her language, words I could not translate but that sounded, somehow, like gratitude. "Save your strength," I told her, even though I knew she could not understand me. "Just hold on." We crossed a shallow stream, the cold water biting through my boots, and I kept moving, my arms burning under her weight, my lungs screaming for air. Behind us, the shouting grew fainter, then faded entirely into the hum of the forest at night. An hour passed. Then two. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else, some exhausted stranger wearing my boots and pushing forward on pure stubbornness. She had gone quiet in my arms, her eyes half closed, and panic flared in my chest. "Hey," I said, jostling her gently. "Stay with me. Come on, stay awake." Her eyes fluttered open, and for a moment, those violet eyes found mine again, and she managed the faintest ghost of a smile, as if my voice alone was enough to anchor her to consciousness. We kept moving. By the time the outpost's perimeter lights came into view through the trees, my arms had gone completely numb, and my shirt was soaked through with sweat and her blood. The gate guard, a broad-shouldered man named Elias Cross, nearly dropped his weapon when he saw us stumbling out of the dark. "Cole, what in the world?" "Medical. Now," I gasped, barely able to form the words. "She is hurt bad. Get the doctor." They took her from my arms, and only then did my legs finally give out beneath me. I sat down hard in the mud, chest heaving, watching them carry her toward the med bay, her dark hair trailing behind like a banner. I did not know her name. I did not know where she came from. I only knew that leaving her to die in that forest had never once felt like an option. The next 2 days passed in a strange blur of debriefings, questions I could not fully answer, and restless waiting. The outpost commander, a sharp woman named Rebecca Foley, interrogated me for hours about what I had seen, what language the pursuers had spoken, what the wreckage had looked like. I told her everything I knew, which admittedly was not much. On the 3rd day, I was finally allowed to see her. She was sitting up in the medical bay, her leg wrapped in clean bandages, color returned to her silver-toned skin. When I stepped through the door, her eyes found mine instantly, and she said something to the translator device clipped to the collar of her hospital gown. A soft mechanical voice followed a beat later. "You are the one who carried me." I stopped in the doorway, surprised to hear actual words instead of static. "Yeah, that was me, Daniel Cole." "Daniel Cole," she repeated, testing the sound of it. "I am called Ileana." Just Ileana? Something flickered across her face, an emotion I could not quite place. Amusement maybe, or hesitation. For now, yes, just Ileana. I pulled a chair over and sat down beside her bed, still not entirely sure what to say to someone who had fallen out of the sky in a burning spaceship 2 nights earlier. "How is the leg?" "Healing. Your doctors are skilled." She studied me for a long moment, her violet eyes searching my face like she was trying to solve a puzzle. "Why did you help me? You did not know what I was. I could have been a danger to your people." I shrugged, because the answer felt simple to me, even if I could tell by her expression that it was not simple to her. "You were hurt and alone. Where I come from, that is reason enough." "Even for a stranger from the stars?" "Especially for a stranger from the stars," I said. "Seemed like you needed a friend more than you needed a reason." She fell silent after that, and I wondered if I had said something wrong. Before I could ask, the door to the medbay burst open, and 4 figures in polished silver armor strode inside, weapons at their sides, moving with the disciplined urgency of soldiers who had been searching desperately for something precious. They dropped to one knee the instant they saw her. I stood up fast, hand instinctively going toward my sidearm, but Ileana raised a hand and spoke sharply in her own language. The soldiers rose, their formation shifting to surround her bed protectively, though their eyes kept flicking toward me with an expression I could only describe as disbelief. "Ileana," I said slowly, looking between her and the soldiers, "what is going on?" She met my eyes, and for the first time since I had found her in that wreckage, she looked almost embarrassed. "I did not lie to you, Daniel. I simply did not tell you everything. My full name is Ileana Vashit, heir to the Vashit Dominion. Those men have been searching every system along this border for 3 days. I sat back down, slowly, because my legs suddenly did not feel entirely reliable. You are a princess." "An heir," she corrected gently, "though I suppose your word is close enough." One of the soldiers stepped forward and spoke rapidly, gesturing at me with something between suspicion and awe. The translator device caught only fragments, but I understood enough. He was asking why a lone human soldier had been allowed anywhere near her, why I had not been detained or questioned more thoroughly, why I had touched her at all without permission. Ileana silenced him with a single sharp word. "He carried me for hours through hostile terrain," she said, her voice carrying even without the mechanical translation now, steady and clear. "He did not know my name or my station. He asked for nothing in return. In my empire, such an act does not exist. Every kindness carries a price. Every rescue comes with expectation. Yet this man gave everything and expected nothing." The soldier lowered his eyes, chastened. She turned back to me, and something in her expression had softened even further, warmer now than gratitude alone could explain. "My people do not understand a debt with no price attached. It troubles them greatly." "It is not a debt," I said. "I would have done the same for anyone." "That," she said quietly, "is precisely what troubles them." Commander Foley arranged a formal meeting the following week, diplomats and translators filling the outpost's largest room, but Ileana insisted I be present, seated near her, rather than among the ranks of officials. When the formalities ended, and the Dominion's representatives began discussing trade routes and border treaties, neither of us cared much about. She leaned toward me and spoke quietly, without the translator this time, her accented English improving by the day. "When I return home," she said, "there will be questions about the human who saved a princess and wanted nothing for it." "Tell them the truth," I said. "I just did not want to leave someone behind." She smiled, and it reached her eyes this time, genuine and unguarded. "I think, Daniel Cole, that is exactly what I intend to tell them, and I think it will change more than either of us expects." Outside the window, the twin moons of Varric rose slowly over the tree line, and for the first time since the night the sky had caught fire, I let myself believe that something good had come out of the wreckage.